Hey Maxine,
Hi, Nick.
how are you?
Hello. Good, good.
Thanks,
Hi.
thanks for agreeing to do the podcast.
Of course. Yes, yes. Thank you for having me. Thank
Oh, of
you.
course. I've been following your
Ah,
journey. It's pretty cool.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been seeing some. I'm curious. Like, so we're just gonna jump into this. Like, it's not gonna
Mm-hmm.
be too formal. Like, just like a casual
Okay.
conversation, lang. But like,
Okay.
I don't think I think it's the first time we're actually meeting. But I think
Mm.
I've seen you around, like from like grade school. Because I
Mm.
think we've had common friends. But
Yeah, yeah.
so it's been interesting to see, I think we come from very similar circles. And then in the past
Mm.
couple of years, you've been getting into yoga and meditation. So I'm curious, like what brought you to that path? How did it
Um,
start?
yeah, actually, you're right. I do know you because of common friends, and I think are we in the same batch? I'm just not
We're the
sure.
same batch. We're the same batch. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So you graduated 2008, correct?
Yes, 2008.
Okay, 2008. I graduated 2010. I had to take 2 extra years because
Okay, actually, I lied. No,
schedule
I didn't
and
lie. I also was super delayed. I finished
okay.
2011, but we're the same batch.
Okay.
But we're the same
Okay,
batch.
okay,
We're
okay,
the
okay.
same
Got it, got
batch.
it, got it. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, because college is very flexible and you can take it
Oh
whenever.
yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
so there, yeah. And then I got into the path of yoga and meditation. I first tried it back in college actually,
Okay.
because it was something that you would hear about through your college girlfriends, and
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this is something new, like you should try this. Parang at that time I was like, oh, it does look interesting, you're posing and you're stretching and all of that. So I did that a few times back in college, and without any idea of what yoga was other than stretching and posing. That's it. That's all I had an idea about yoga. And then now, that was back in college. And then now, when I was engaged, um, and we were planning our wedding, and it got so stressful. My husband, who practices yoga, who has been practicing since 2009, I think, because his sister was a yoga teacher,
Oh, nice.
Raya Manankil de Leon. So she was a yoga teacher way back when, and she invited Rob to practice yoga. And then Rob continued practicing it until we met each other in 2015, and then in 2017 when we were planning the wedding, things became too stressful that he invited me to join him for yoga, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to help during a wedding
Yeah,
planning. Sabi ko, I didn't understand why he was inviting me, and he said, you know what, just feel it for yourself, just try it
yeah,
and you'll see what I mean. Because this is something that people have to understand for themselves, right? To really
exactly.
feel it for themselves. So anyway, when he brought me to yoga, and at the beginning I remember I found it really, really boring, and like I wanted to walk out, and then you start to compare yourself to the other people, and you're like,
Yeah,
your ego gets like, oh, challenged, and you're like, oh shucks, I can't do that. Parang, you get defeated in some way.
yeah.
So this was the start, but I could understand what he was saying about the de-stressing part.
Mm-hmm.
So that part I understood, and I really got into it, and I said yes to him because I wanted to feel it for myself, and at the same time, to be honest, I really wanted to lose weight for the wedding. So it was
Okay.
also a physical
Yeah.
reason as well. So that was how it started for me at the beginning. I was like, okay, I was getting stressed and I needed to lose weight, might as well do this. And then as months went along, 4 to 6 months of constant practice, I could really feel something deeper already. Like
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, parang especially when you're really like giving so much to the practice,
Yeah.
right? Like you can really feel it already. So in those months, I was like, wow, I could really feel. First of all, I really enjoyed the physical benefits of the practice.
Okay.
I lost the weight that I needed to, and then I could feel more like in tune with myself and more connected.
Yeah.
And also I could what do you call this? I've actually been looking for a fitness routine that I really could resonate with. And this was the one that really
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I really appreciated the connection of breath with movement.
Yeah.
So that time was very, very special to me, because that was when I realized that this practice is really something more than a physical practice.
For
This is
sure.
really
For sure.
something special, something special.
What's
So
what kind of yoga do you practice?
at the beginning it was
Vinyasa. Okay.
vinyasa, and then what do you call this? And then after that, when we got stranded in Bali for a year, I tried so many different kinds. I did Ashtanga every
Yeah.
day, and then also different kinds of sound healing classes. And I know you do sound bath,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm really curious about those things, and it's like, there are so many different kinds of practices, especially things that you can relate with and you
Yeah.
resonate with. You just have to find what really suits your personality the most. So
No, you really do. And just you just mentioned that you and your husband were stranded in Bali. And I was looking
mm,
at your social media when you were there. What was that experience like for you?
wow. Wow, 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 wow. That was really like one of the most life-changing experiences ever. Like, um, we went to Bali with the intention of just being there for a month for a teacher training. And at that time, it was already going to be our second teacher training. And the first one was in 2019. So this one in 2020, March 2020. Um, it was really something that we wanted to take right away, because the very first teacher training that we did in 2019 was actually a 300-hour right away.
Oh wow,
So the
okay.
very first one was a 300-hour. Tapos parang we were asking our teacher if that was even possible, if that was even allowed. Basically,
Yeah.
she's the kind of teacher who's like, whatever, like, so she
Yeah.
was like, yeah, we'll just fix the dates or whatever. Like, she just put us para lang meron siyang enough number of students in
Okay.
a course. Parang
Yeah.
ganon. So that's why nung 2020, sabi namin, we really wanted to take the proper 200-hour
Yeah.
course before we teach. So we went there in Bali March 2020, and I personally went there with the intention of like really healing myself, because I had already found out from my therapist about my mental health condition,
Okay.
and that she said that yoga and meditation are really, really good natural healers for mental health,
For sure.
and for calming anxiety and all of that. So she said to me to just continue doing that. So following her advice, I said, okay, I want to continue deepening my practice. So we went to Bali. I went there with the intention of healing and learning how to deal with my anxiety and with stress,
Yeah.
because those are the things that I really have a big problem with. Like, like managing my emotions. That's one of the symptoms of complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which is the mental health condition that I have. So this condition makes me have a hard time managing my emotions. So when I get stressed, I feel like it's the end of the world.
Oh
I
yeah.
get irritated fast. I explode with rage. Basta parang I'm really out of balance, like out of
Yeah.
tune. So when she said that yoga and meditation was good for me, so that I can, and I really wanted to heal naturally without the use of meds.
Yeah.
So that's why I continued deepening my practice. So when we went there to Bali with those intentions, and then the lockdown happened, I was like, wow, like this is like the perfect challenge for me to actually learn how to deal with anxiety, because you're actually experiencing a worldwide pandemic and you're not
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so many things can happen, and so many things started to like so many stories started to
Come
what
up.
do you call this, pollute my mind, like with all of these, like what if we get stranded there, what if we get sick there, and
Yeah.
we don't have travel insurance, what if we get deported, what if we so many, like what if we run out of
Yeah.
money and then we don't, so many things, so many of these negative emotions. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a challenge for me, since I've been asking for, because I was already prayerful at this time. And at that time I was already praying to God to send me his messages, send me his
Yeah.
signs, send me whatever he feels that I need for my life to grow. And these are the kinds of prayers that I have every day. And at that time I was like, it, this is it's either it's too good to be true, or it's like something bad is about to happen. So all of these negative
Yeah.
scenarios were happening in my head. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this is the challenge that I have been praying for. And maybe I was made to actually go through this. This
Yeah.
is part of my karma. This is part of my, um, you know, this is supposed to happen to me, and there is a purpose for this. So that was the time that I just started practicing surrender, like really surrender. I just said, you know what? I started praying, I started lifting it up to God. And then one by one, all my worries started to just disappear. Like suddenly, the Indonesian government decided to give us an emergency visa for anyone who entered after February 5. We were allowed to stay without and then, prices of hotels and restaurants started dropping. So, finances weren't gonna be such a
Yeah.
problem anymore. And then what do you call this? Basta, so many of these things just started like really settling
Aligning.
down,
Yeah.
aligning, and like really like, and we had our teacher training, and we had the choice of either stopping in the middle of the training and going back home in a panic, or just surrendering and just letting
Yeah.
life take its natural course. And we chose the latter. And and we said, 4 hours away lang naman ang Manila from Bali,
Yeah.
might as well stay here and find out what our purpose is here.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think, if I had gone home in a panic, then it would have been the exact opposite of what I went to Bali for. You get what
Yeah.
I mean?
No, I totally get
So
you.
so it's like, maybe this is what this is where I need to be.
So
So
like you're back in Manila now, right?
yes.
So what was that like? How's life now that you've come back home after having that experience of teacher training and being in Bali? Because I remember when I did my teacher training, I didn't want to be a teacher. I just wanted to do it to
Ah.
deepen my practice lang.
Oh yes,
And they
yes.
were I was like saying I'm not gonna teach. It's just for
Yeah.
me. But when I
Yeah,
came
yeah, yeah.
back, parang I felt this overwhelming need
Yeah.
to share it. It wasn't even to teach it,
Yes.
pero that place of sharing
Yes,
eventually
yes.
transformed into teaching because parang you
Yeah.
want them to feel what you felt, diba?
Yes.
The tools that you
Exactly.
have that weren't taught to us when we were young.
No.
You didn't learn this in grade school, high school, or college. You're never taught how to breathe, diba? So
No, yeah,
parang
yeah.
it's pretty, I
Or
mean,
how
for
to deal
me,
deal with
exactly,
emotions.
like
Yeah.
emotions, diba? So parang,
Mm.
like I think then when people say, and I think even until now, whenever I tell my students, you are not your thoughts, you are
Mm.
not your emotions, you are the
Mm.
awareness
Yes.
behind those thoughts and emotions. Parang some of them are like,
They,
really?
they
But
don't
it is,
understand. Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
understand it. But that's
Yeah,
why we're
yeah.
here. But that's why
Yes.
you become teachers to like help guide them that there is another way. It doesn't need
Yes.
to be like parang constant just neurosis and worrying
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
anxiety. So I'm really curious, like, how is life now that you're here and you're also working again? You're acting too. So what
Yes.
changed now?
Wow, definitely. You know what? Because my spiritual path right now is really a combination of really, it's really God first and foremost. Like I really pray first and foremost. So whatever happened while I was in Bali, I was just like, you know what, God, this whole pandemic is teaching me. I feel that it is teaching all of us to really learn how to surrender and to trust God. So I was like, you know what, God, okay, you kayo nang bahala. Like whatever you want, whatever you decide, I will follow you and I will listen and I will follow your signs. And then, I suddenly get this call from Manila that I have to come back and like I have to work. And at the time I was like, do I want to go back to Manila and like continue? And there was this pull in my heart, like you feel it inside of you. You're like, I felt the need to go back home, even if I was in paradise. Bali is
Yeah.
like, wow, like yogi's heaven. Like every yogi wants to just be in Bali and just eat up all the vegan food and take all the yoga classes. But at that time, I felt the need, like, especially with the lockdown, I feel a lot of Filipinos need, people to tell them that there is a way out of the darkness. So I wanted to come back home. I wanted to, of course, go back to work. That was also a blessing. I considered a blessing that I want to be able to, for me, being stranded in Bali for more than a year was an incredible gift and blessing and a life changing experience that I will be forever grateful for. But I feel that it was part of my journey to learn everything that I did in Bali and then come back here to Manila and then hopefully apply what I learned
Yeah.
in the field that I do, and hopefully spread this to more
Mm-hmm.
people also. And like, I really said it's so easy to be spiritual in Bali. That's what I thought. But to come back to the real
Yeah.
world, to face your responsibilities, to face what you need to face in your daily life, that I believe is the real spiritual work.
I
That is
totally agree.
when, yeah, and I feel that it was already a gift that I got to stay there for more than a year. I
Yeah.
can't ask for anything more than that,
Yeah. Yeah.
with all the discounted prices and no people in Bali at that time, so
Yeah.
it was like a ghost town, so it was so special. But then at that time when I got the call to come back home to Manila, I was like, you know what, it's time. So I came back home, and I'm going to tell you, it wasn't an easy transition because coming from a place where I was able to go out every day and live life as normally as possible, all the yoga studios are open, and then coming back home here all of a sudden, just literally locked down.
Yeah.
It was the first time that I experienced
The
lockdown for
lockdown. Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
The lockdown for real. And wow, Nick, I can't, I don't even know how to explain that. If I didn't have my yoga and meditation practice, I wouldn't know what would have happened to me during those times when I was in lockdown. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how to get through it. And I'm so glad that I have these tools to actually help me guide myself through such a turbulent time in our
Yeah. For
lives.
sure. That's amazing. No, that's amazing. I think that that's the like I went through that as well. I mean, I think we're in similar industries. You
Mm.
act. I was also in
Yeah,
video
yeah.
production,
Oh,
and
yes.
for me, it's only now nga lang that I'm actually open to going back into it. Because
Mm,
I've been
mm,
teaching for like 3 years, pretty much full time. But
mm,
then like I think like you said, we're given gifts, we're given
mm,
talents, and
mm,
there's nothing wrong with being a teacher. But if you have
mm.
other skills that you can
Yes,
apply and you can
yes,
use your insights to share how to be mindful, how to be more
yes.
like in tune with yourself. And that's where, because our industry, the production industry, is super stressful, diba?
Super.
But if you can actually give a bit of like, hey, you can just be quiet, you can take a deep breath for a couple of moments, and like just to feel, not to rush into it, not to be
Exactly.
so like atat or so stressed right away. And it's definitely the
Yes,
challenge because we're going against the grain, diba? But
yes, yes,
I mean, I guess that's the reason why we're in it too, that we have that privilege and that maybe that responsibility too, to share it to those
yes.
who don't have no awareness of that there is
Because
another way.
you and I practice it, and this is a
Exactly.
practice, and they
Yeah.
won't understand it until they practice it themselves. So it's our responsibility to share what we have experienced based on our personal experience, because we have been doing this for more
Yeah.
than how many years already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
Exactly.
know for sure what the benefits are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the best part. Like, I mean, I think that it's for me, it's inspiring to see people like you who are, like
Mm,
not being silent about it, because it's easy to keep
mm,
it for yourself. I mean,
yeah,
it's so special, so sacred. But when you have the courage to share it,
yeah,
iba rin the feeling
yes,
that it's fulfilling, diba? Masarap.
yes,
Like you
yes,
can't, and then I feel like you can't help it. That you have to
yes,
share it.
yes. It is a responsibility. It really is. And it is part of, it would be against the yogi's oath if we kept it to
Exactly.
ourselves, because
Exactly.
this is such a special gift that I believe is is something that we can all inject into our daily lives, no matter what your field of work is. This is
Yeah.
actually the best foundational work that you can do every morning or every night or whatever part of the day that you feel that you can allow yourself this quiet time for yourself,
Yeah.
to really align yourself before you. That's right, you're right. Our jobs are very stressful. And before we go into that stressful arena, it's nice to find our alignment within
Yeah.
ourselves so that we are properly and better equipped when we go into the
Exactly.
arena, right?
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
like and you keep mentioning practice, and I feel like, like with some of my students, I always have to tell them that this isn't like some box that you tick as a to-do list,
Mm,
and
mm,
you're
mm,
not pursuing perfection. It's a
mm,
practice. Like, it's
mm,
always gonna be a new experience every day. Like, there are gonna be
mm,
days when you don't feel like doing it. There are gonna be days when
mm.
you're super excited to do it, but
Yes,
regardless, you do it because it's the practice. It prepares you
yes,
for life, 'di ba? Na kahit
yes,
mahirap,
yes,
na you're gonna stick to the pose. You're gonna breathe through it.
yes,
It's gonna pass. Like, 'di ba,
yes,
what they always say, whatever happens on the mat happens in your
yes,
life. And I think that's
exactly.
so true, 'di ba?
It is. It is. When we are told to hold a pose, and when you want to get out of the pose, that's when you actually need to hold it even
Exactly.
longer, because it
Exactly.
actually teaches so much about you that yoga is the best mirror for you to see all the things that you have been denying about yourself. And
Oh yeah,
you know eh,
100%.
exactly, right. And the reason why I believe it's such a gift for us to share this kind of work is because it's a privilege for us to actually enjoy the benefits of this
Oh
practice.
yeah. Oh
it's
yeah.
so it's such a it's a practice that gives so much to us that it would be such a shame and a waste if we don't share it with
Yeah.
others. So it's like, like when we get to experience this kind of peace, you're right, it's a practice. It's really like, people ask me, "Hi, Miss Maxine, how do you get your inner peace?" I'm like, it's not something that you can buy, or like
Yeah.
you can actually go to a class once a week for, and then you
No.
feel you think it's gonna be. No, it's actually, it takes a lot of dedication, it's
It
commitment.
does.
And also, like, like saying that yoga is a mirror, you really have to be honest with yourself. This is really a practice that will allow you will find the peace by through acceptance, because this
Acceptance.
is what the
Exactly.
this is what the practice helps you to do, to accept everything. And that's what people are sometimes afraid to do, to see
Yeah.
the scary parts and accept it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But us, we get that, right? Like, but that's life,
That's
the dark.
life. That's life.
Yeah.
And you said it yourself. Like, I remember my teachers would always tell me na, like, when you don't want to show up for meditation, let's say sadhana, when you don't want to
Mm.
wake up early and show up, that's exactly when you really need to
When
show up. Kasi when
exactly.
it's easy, wala pang growth dun. Normal pa yon.
Mm,
Pero when you're like, oh, I
mm.
just want to sleep, when you decide to show up, then na, it's starting to
Exactly.
evolve already. And I think
Exactly.
that's such a, I love the perspective of yogis, and with how, like, life is hard. We will always have challenges, but we have the capacity to not just endure but to thrive, 'di ba? By
Exactly.
going through it, because in the other side of that is the wisdom, the insight of that
Mm,
experience.
mm,
And I think
mm,
that's for me. I remember because before, we were very similar, and like when I was running my production company and directing, it was super stressful. Parang you're always chasing. You didn't trust the process. But like now, parang it's like, is this is for me? This is for me. You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like, wala nang parang, oh, I'm so worried. Am I gonna get this? But you just gotta trust, because
Exactly.
like
And know
everything
that
that's
you're doing your
happening,
best. Know that you're doing your
exactly,
best. Yeah.
and that your best will vary from moment to moment. Diba?
Exactly.
Kasi sometimes we're not
Mm.
naman 110% all the time. Eh.
No,
Sometimes we're
no.
like 20% lang because we're emotional. And I think that's what the practice is, diba? It's your own, you're
Yes.
finding your rhythm. Eh. And diba?
Yes.
Instead of the pace of the
Yes.
world, which is just super, just the rat race.
Exactly. Exactly. And can you imagine all of these things that we need to take care about ourselves, all these things that we need to keep ourselves, in check, like really aligning ourselves, keeping ourselves in tune, fine tuning everything. will we have time for any other things to really, no, right? We really have to focus on ourselves and like our spiritual path. That's it. As
Yeah.
long as we really devote to that and accept, and that's what I love about India, how they have so much respect for death,
Yeah.
and how they celebrate it, because the minute that we accept that we are
Yeah.
going to die
Gonna
one day,
die. Exactly.
the minute we accept that, then we will live life to the fullest.
The fullest.
there's
Yeah.
just there's just no other way.
And there's no escape. Like I remember, like I was able to spend some time in a Tibetan Buddhist monastery in
Wow.
Nepal, and then we
Wow.
we, we did a meditation about death, and it was pretty
Oh.
intense because they were like the monk was saying, okay, I want you guys to visualize yourselves that you may die when you drink water, when you walk
Oh,
out of
wow.
the temple. But parang at first you're like, what is this? This is so weird. And then after
Yeah.
the meditation, she explained, you guys were scared, weren't you? And then we were like, yeah, we all were. And then but she was like saying that the point of this practice was to remind you that your life is so fragile that the
Yes.
next moment isn't promised. So you might as well
Yes.
make the most of it na lang. And
Exactly.
yeah, society gives us expectations of what to do. You got to make a lot of money. You got to do this, do that. But
Mm.
are you going to bring your money to the grave? No, I mean,
No.
it's important, but I guess
Yes.
know what's enough. Diba? Know
Yes.
what's enough and do things that
Exactly.
make you happy and that
Uh-uh.
give you that challenge you. Like
Exactly.
it's such an
Yes.
interesting thing. And sometimes I ask myself, friend, I wonder if I was young and I knew
Mm.
these
Yeah.
insights, like how I
Yeah.
would live my life. But
Back then.
like back
Yeah.
then, but
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that at in our mid 30s we're
Exactly.
learning this because some people won't.
Exactly.
And it's just
Exactly.
I don't know. I really can't imagine my life now if I didn't have my practice because it would be
Exactly.
I don't know. I think I'd probably get a mental breakdown to be
I
honest.
know. I know. And,
Diba?
and and I was so glad because you have been practicing way before the pandemic, right?
Me 7 years now, yeah.
Exactly. So when the pandemic hit, we had the tools. You
We
get what
did
I
have the
mean?
tools. Yeah. I mean, it was
Yeah.
hard. It was hard. No
Yeah.
denying that. But I
Yeah.
remember I was practicing more than ever. Because
Yeah.
it was like, okay, this is you can't go out. What can you do? I can do yoga, I can meditate.
Yes.
Diba? I
Yes.
can like
Yes.
do a sound bath for myself. Because that's when you realize, okay, you have this arsenal of
Yes.
tools that you
Yes.
can use na instead of like,
Yes.
binge
Yes.
drinking and like, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Parang
That's what we
it's
used to do back then,
that's what we
right?
used to do. Those were what we knew.
And that's what people still do up to now
Yeah,
when
yeah.
they are experiencing something uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. And I'm not naman judging those that still do it, but I think
Yeah.
it's just nice to know that you have other options.
Exactly.
That you don't need to do the whole go all out and hit rock bottom, that you can actually, like spare yourself from
Yes.
that drama. Because it's just
Exactly.
as fun as it is, we know that
Yeah.
it doesn't end well. It's fun naman talaga eh. I won't
It
deny that.
is. It is. It
Diba?
is.
But iba rin
Yeah.
kasi the high is so different when it's
Sobra.
natural, diba?
Sobra. Sobra.
Like I really tell my friends, if you knew lang, this is even better than drugs and alcohol sometimes.
Yeah. That's
Like
true. That's
like the high is just
true.
so like consistent and
Yeah.
prolonged. Walang
Yes.
crash, diba?
Totoo. Totoo. This is like, for me, this is the best way to live your life and to have the best quality of your life. You get what I
100%.
mean? Like
100%.
it's really the, you know, for me it's something that is really, it's really something that you can really use for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it's something that everyone should at least try and see, because it kanya-kanya pa rin, whatever really
Kanya-kanya.
works for every
Yeah.
person. But I really believe that in the power of yoga, in the power and the magic of yoga and meditation, and how it really connects you to your spirit and to the divine. Because it's really the, for me, because I'm Catholic, and I was raised with all of those prayers, religious prayers and all of that, and I was raised to believe that God is a, you know, um fearful figure up in the heavens. But then when I started practicing yoga, I could really feel God starting to like really feel him in my heart.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get what I mean? So this practice is
Totally.
really so special that it really was designed for us humans to return to that part of ourselves which we have forgotten. And
Yeah.
it's no one's fault. It's just how the world has become.
Yeah.
And that's why I really believe it's our responsibility to keep spreading this gift. And I also am very, very I like all your posts and all your
Thank
like,
you.
yeah, because you're also like, you just really speak your mind, and also you also share about all of these things that even though our country is still not open to it as much as
Yeah.
we would
They're
like,
not
they're not,
exactly.
you are still talking about it, and that's really great. And we just need to it's I think it's our duty to bring it to bring to make this more accessible to people and to make
Oh
it more
yeah, for
relatable to
sure.
them,
For
because
sure. For
they
sure.
because we are a Catholic country and they
Yeah.
find it kind of
Yeah.
like,
It's like, oh, it's
right.
not. And yeah, but like I totally agree with you. And I'm so like grateful that you're spreading this because we need more
Mm,
people spreading
yeah.
this light. And
Mm,
again, Maxine, thanks so much for taking the
mm,
time. And
yes.
yeah, keep doing what you're doing because it's
Yeah.
inspiring a lot of people.
Thank you. I'd love to take one of your classes soon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Okay.
We should do it.
Okay.
We should do like
Sige.
I'm starting to do more in person because like socially
Yeah.
distance in Makati. So
Yes.
yeah, we should
Yeah.
totally do one.
Oh, sige. Okay. 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 Let me know. Thank you, Nick. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Maxine. Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you.